right. It is Winning Women's Wednesday. And yet again, I am woefully outnumbered by a bunch of winning women.
You are.
Woo-woo.
Yes. So we've got co-host Michelle,
Hello, hello. Good morning.
co-host Ashley,
What up?
and then who else do we have with us?
We have Taylor with Goosehead Insurance today, and she is amazing. I'm excited for us to talk to her and kind of hear how she does the world of work in insurance and all the things that she deals with.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm very excited.
Right
You
on.
don't
Oh,
look
she's
too-
got a good radio voice
She's got
there.
a great voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That awkward laugh, you might catch that a couple times, but do my best.
Makes it
guys.
even better.
No problem.
So we have to be careful because Taylor did take the LSAT and then decided
gosh.
she did
Oh, no.
not want to become a lawyer. So, yeah.
Oh.
Says something about my thought process.
Yeah.
But also
Yeah.
my
So
Right on.
decisions in life. I don't
she's
know.
extra smart and extra inquisitive. So,
Appreciate that.
Well,
yeah.
thank God
So
I've had my
nice.
gummies and my
Yes.
my nootropics. So
I took my gummies on the way here, so I'm hoping they'll
They're
fire
kicking
up
in.
here in a
They're
second.
kicking in.
So, yeah.
excellent. So do we want to consult the oracle?
Absolutely.
Or, all right, there we go.
Yes.
So one of the fun things that we do is we let AI, before the robots take over, it provides us the topics.
Oh,
So here we go. So today is what? What's today's date?
it's the 14th.
14th. Okay. Embracing failure as a stepping stone to success. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And that is Winston Churchill.
Nice.
it is the courage to continue that counts. That is fantastic because how often do we fail or start to fail so we don't finish, and we use that as our excuse, and thus we need accountability for all of those things. So circling it right back to that accountability over the summertime.
Are we going to talk about Bikini Christmas?
But it's Bikini Christmas. Hey, I am so ready for the Gentry family Christmas card.
Yeah, no, it's not happening. So,
Do you send them in July?
no, accountability and the thing, mine was more towards my health,
Okay.
journey. And I said, summer's too late. Like, summer's here. It's not going to happen. So Rick was like, Bikini Christmas. And I'm like, Bikini Christmas.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
it.
So that's
Filled
what
in.
we're going to do.
Trademark. Trademark.
Yes, I love
So
it.
now you're up to speed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Merch
I feel
is
included.
merch incoming.
I think
Yes.
it's a Hallmark movie on
Yeah.
the way.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. So, but on the whole accountability and courage to keep going forward. I mean, I think we were just talking about that the other day, that the room is always the most important place to be. It's not about the content. It's not about the success ratio. I can look back now and think about, you forget what was actually going on, but you remember the people that you were surrounded with. And I think we just get so focused on these micro results, and they get in our way and they make us stuck. And ultimately, I have failed more fingers than I possess on my body, but we only share our successes. So nobody knows that we're constantly failing on a daily basis.
Well, and if we're honest on social media, failing is so public
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
Yep.
It can
It's
be
so
scary.
funny. So Wayne and I talked about this Friday, where it was the idea of, so we're launching another show. Like, hey, let's do another one. But Leadership Laboratory, and the idea being that we're actually going to go granular on the things that somebody that has, like, for me, I didn't know what it was like to have a team or employees or whatever until I already have it. And it's like, oh wow, this is not as easy as it looks,
No.
on
Teams are tough.
TV. And there's no brochure. And
No.
is there a pamphlet or something? No, there's not. And so the idea that I would do all of these things and fail and then think, I don't know about y'all, but we like LSAT and all the stuff there, where it's like, historically, I always used to think I should know better. Even though I have no experience whatsoever, I've never seen any of this shit ever before in my life. But internally, my monologue would be like, well, you know better than that, or you're smarter than that, or whatever. And sometimes no, absolutely not. But the idea that I would ever confess that in public or lead with like, hey, how about this thing that sucked? It was like,
Nobody
nope.
wants to see that.
No.
Right. And
Actually, everybody wants to see that.
Yes.
That's
fair.
that's the whole thing.
That's true.
More
yes,
relatable.
the idea, because I used to live this world of, now pre-recovery, the perception management was difficult. It's like, I'm not drunk, you're drunk. What are you talking about? But the idea that I had to behave in a certain way so you would see me a certain way. Oh my God, that's exhausting.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
It is exhausting. And you know what? And you just commented how cool my top knot looked and everything else. It's because when I woke up, I looked like Carrot Top that just had a bender because my hair was all, because I scrunched it yesterday.
Wait, so was there pool vodka last night?
There was no pool vodka.
Okay, just
no,
checking.
but I just woke up and my hair was so big and I was like, what am I going to do? So it was
There you
like
go.
brushing it out and then just put it on there, and that's a lot of hairspray.
God bless dry
But,
shampoo.
so this looks great, but if I had showed you what the
Amen.
real thing was, and I look like an insane person who stuck her finger in a light socket, right? But,
Right.
But nobody sees that.
Right.
I still would have liked it though. I would have
been
totally
fun.
appreciated it.
It would have been like
time
80s hairband. Yeah.
So
Oh,
Taylor,
you're speaking my language.
yeah.
Taylor, as a female in the insurance industry, where do you experience challenges, and where have you failed? And it's been hard to
Yeah.
accommodate
Are you
that.
okay?
Yeah.
That's the first question. Are you?
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
There we are.
Good now.
Okay, we'll
I'm
edit that
not
out.
okay right now. No.
I didn't hear anything. What are you guys talking
Yeah,
about?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't
Oh.
skip a beat.
As far as, failure, I feel like this sounds kind of crazy, but the insurance industry right now is, for lack of better terms, failing.
Is a
right?
failure.
Like, it's not operating on all cylinders. We have lots of issues going on, whether that be financially or product-wise or whatever. And so every day, I was talking about this with my husband the other day, every day feels kind of like a failure, right? Because you might not be able to match the client to what they really need or what you want to give them. And
Sounds like 2008 in the real estate market.
Sounds like 2 hours ago.
Well, it's fair.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fair.
Ah,
Sounds like my email coming in right now.
yeah.
And truthfully, like I was telling my husband, it's emotionally quite draining. And so there are really high highs in the fact that we can still offer you what you need, but there are really low lows in the fact that people can't afford what the insurance industry has to offer right now.
Yeah.
And so as somebody that is really emotionally invested in her whole book of business, I take that personally. I feel like that's kind of a failure, Is it for me?
speaks
No.
to your willingness to provide good service. And
Yes.
that makes it hard.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think in business a lot, we're taught that that emotional part is kind of a weakness.
Yeah.
We have a job to do and we want to make sure that we're doing it accurately. And when you cannot do it accurately, it seems weak. And so having to adjust my mindset on a daily basis has been something that I've been working on for many, many months. And is it going 100% great? No. Like I said, at the end of every day, it's kind of tough, but it's getting there. It's getting better. I know it's getting better because it feels a little bit better at the end of every day now, too.
Or
If that makes sense.
have you just succumbed? Yeah. Are we in that,
Well,
that
and that was-
acceptance part of the grieving process?
And a real question, is it that the market is changing, or is that you're growing in your mindset and your ability to handle the challenges?
Yeah, I think in times like this I have to become more knowledgeable. I think I have to adjust to the carriers that I once knew would be perfect for every situation, or once were available to each client are no longer available. And so going out, educating myself in different areas, finding new avenues to gain business that supplements business that I may be losing, that's something that I think has been really helpful to me in general.
Incredible. That's awesome.
Well,
awesome.
that's resilient right there, because I think, that obviously translate. We're all sitting here with our hair on fire,
For sure.
in the housing space, right? Whatever way you touch it. But I think your what you just said was key, was going out and finding other ways to diversify and bring in income or business or referrals and everything else. You can't just keep on doing the same thing over and over again, and think that tomorrow is going to look different, or you go and drink pool vodka every day.
Yes.
So,
Very tempting at 2 p.m. for sure.
yes.
But I think as a woman sometimes too, the emotional part plays a big role, but also I think sometimes I notice that we're not always given, I guess, the same opportunity in instances for disagreement. And the reason I say that is because they're not expecting me to disagree in situations where the client may not be right. and they're very much
You're
trained.
expected to be meek and just stand back and accept what is said. Oh my gosh, I so feel that.
I'm not the professional. You're right. You're the professional as the client. And are there times when that's probably how you de-escalate a situation? Absolutely. But in this type of market where nobody quite knows what's going on besides the person that's doing it on a daily basis, I have definitely grown even more of a backbone.
I've seen that with myself too. I've recently taken on 3 pre-owned listings, and I keep saying I was really mean to my clients, and I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was just very, very honest.
Well, I mean,
yeah, like this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna do it, and this is how we're going to price it, or I will not be your agent.
Yeah.
And I think it's because one, I've grown. 2, I'm very confident. I know what I know, and I have no doubt that this is where it needs to be priced. But 3, I don't want the phone calls and the frustrated clients at 9 o'clock at night because their house hasn't sold because you haven't priced it where I told you to.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm actually very proud of myself for that, because in the past, I may have just taken it and known, oh, we'll drop the price later. We'll drop the price later. And usually they do, but this market is so challenging. I don't want to deal with that. We are going to get this house sold, and we're going to benefit the client as well. This is going to make the client happy because they're going to get into their new home.
Yeah.
And that's the goal.
Okay, so now I'm curious, as the resident guy at the table, how much of that, because I would say, in the macro, females tend to be more agreeable than men. And so now, how much of that is like a socially conditioned situation where you felt like you were supposed to, where you might have even known, that's a dumbass idea, but hey, okay, all right, cool, whatever, we'll do that. Because even from my side, there was a point where I was at a seminar or something where it's, the hands went up whenever somebody said, did you ever take a deal that you just knew was going to be just total bullshit? And it was like, you ended up hating every minute of it, but you take a deal just to have a deal.
We've done that. Yes.
And so.
And you regret it the whole time.
Yes.
Yep.
And, you help them limp over the finish line, and then they never call you. They don't even say thanks or whatever. And they were just a giant pain in the ass the whole time. Yes, of course. But now I'm curious from the female perspective, where when you're kind of subverting those expectations, is it did it get, or does it get easier, or did it get easier as you got more experience? Because my thesis has been evidence breeds confidence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if you do the thing repeatedly, now I have enough things behind me that I can show somebody and say no, this is kind of why I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, for sure.
But that to me is an inherently, not inherently, but it's sort of like a dude thing. Check it out, dude. Where we tend to bow up and peacock and just, be generally jackassy about stuff, even whenever we're not necessarily there. And so I've not ever experienced the thing where, I set a boundary or I put my foot down and somebody took umbrage with that.
Yeah. No, I actually see that a lot in my coaching. I've got 18 years experience as a realtor and as a leader and broker. I know how to run a team. I know how to run a business. If you want to tell me that these action steps and these plans aren't what you want to try or aren't going to work for you, then really you're just not ready to be coached.
Yeah. 100%.
Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And that I'm very confident in because I do know what works. With my clients on the real estate side, I do tend to be a little more forgiving. But because this market is so tough, I've had to put my foot down, and both for me and the client so that we can still be friends at the end of the day.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
I was about to say, you want to be friends with your
want at
wife?
the end of the
She
day, I
said that.
guess.
I'm like, Michelle is such a nice person. And I'm over here
we don't have to be friends. We have to get the job done.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I love that her knee jerk was, that's what you want.
But I want to be able to pick up the phone and call them and have a conversation with them because I've been very clear from the get-go. I'm not going to play that game this year because this year is so challenging. Last year, I'd have been a little more lenient. So I've kind of based it on the market conditions, how tough I've gotten, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we adapt
Yeah, I've adapted a little bit.
very heavily.
Well, and then with Ashley, she steps right into the lion's den, and
Yes.
it's like, I'll be president.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. I think I was just thinking about this and Taylor, I was like, man, she's doing a lot. Like she's only, you're 27?
I'm 27.
That's amazing.
I feel like I'm 55 after this year, but
yeah, no, hazard pay. But no, I was just thinking about that. I was on my way here and I'm sitting there and going like, I was so not, well informed and everything. Thought I was. Yeah. But I turned.
It's the scoliosis.
It's the mild scoliosis. When you were like, I think I've grown a backbone. I'm like, I have too, but mine's crooked. So that's
kind of always has been though, right?
Right. Yeah. Apparently, rub some dirt on it, kid. But I think the biggest thing in all of that is success leaves clues. We have the evidence, but we also have to prioritize our time and our mental capacity. Mm-hmm. So it's not even a capacity in a schedule. Like I need to prioritize what my mental capacity is. So am I going to take on this situation when I know it's going to be really draining? And the end result is this is probably not one of those symbiotic relationships that I know is really going to materialize to anything beyond just a transaction. Yeah. And I want to do business with people that want to be my business partner in a long-term situation. So if I know it's going to be real transactional by nature, I have to see, is there a lot of friction going into this? And if there is, then same thing. It's like, we're just not a good fit, but I will find you somebody who is a good fit. Mm-hmm. And that's
collect a referral fee and it will be fantastic.
and move on your way.
Back to me somehow.
Well, what's really funny is what happened is I got my husband licensed 2 years ago because I said, you don't care. And so instead of me trying to give business to other people, I'll get you licensed. And he really doesn't, because he doesn't overthink things. Yeah. He's actually at spokesperson training right now at Metrotex for our leadership program. And I just walked out and I said, well, may the force be with you. And he said, I don't overthink things. He said, I mess up puns. I have a very thick accent. I might giggle, but I'm not going to overthink it. And that's his charm, Yes. Why I'm overthinking everything. He's like, I'm hungry. What's for lunch? Yeah. And
that's a nice life to live, right?
It really is. I'm like, how is this? But that severe compartmentalization is also very frustrating to be married to sometimes.
Yes. Boy, howdy.
For us, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm, for sure. My husband is just like that. And I think a lot of people don't talk about whenever you have a successful business, and of course, whenever you're first starting out, you say yes to everything, right? Because you want to experience everything.
And you do.
Yes, absolutely. But the second you start saying no, it's like this revolutionary experience for yourself, right? Like
so true.
And the thing that I was not aware of until it started to happen was, well, first off, you have imposter syndrome or whatever, and you're brand new. You say yes to everything, and it's like, like the whole thing. You take a deal when you know it's going to suck or whatever. There was something empowering about saying no, where it's like, I would have had no idea that was attached to my self-esteem or like what I thought about myself.
So free.
Versus, no, I do work 24 hours a day and you can call me anytime. It's like, no. And
people
at 27,
boundaries too.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
Yeah, people actually respect boundaries. They want you to respect their boundaries. And so as like an authoritative figure to them, a professional in your industry, setting boundaries says a lot about you as an actual professional. Like,
yes. You cannot call your doctor at 9 o'clock at night.
Exactly. But you'll still use them.
Yes.
Right? Like you understand that they have a family and a life and something to do themselves, and you still use them. You'll call them again at 8 a.m. in the morning when everything has settled. Similar to, I'll have clients text me in the middle of the night and they've had wind and hail to their roof. Unless the roof is literally caving in and it's flooding, we're going to talk at 8:30 when I've had my coffee and I can actually give you sound advice in order to go forward.
And what are you personally going to do? Are you going to go patch the roof for them?
Sure as hell.
I've got my tools.
I am not going out there.
I'm on my way. I've got my tools.
Well, I think everybody's on fire. Everybody's super leveraged. Yeah. And then and people attach themselves, to us. We're not civil servants, we're not firemen or policemen, but I think we still have that kind of, because we're rescuing people out of their circumstances many of the time.
It's so emotional. Yes. So yes, we become their emotional crutch for 30 days or whatever it is.
And y'all, to y'all's credit, and I'm sure to your frustration, y'all are involved in things that are very, very important from a lifestyle and just a like family and life and all of that standpoint. Like huge for me, it's like, we're taking pictures and making videos, whatever, dude. You'll get over it. You know what I mean? I don't like the picture of the whatever. Yeah, sure, I'll have somebody else go out. But we're going live tomorrow. Like, yeah, and I'm sure everything will probably still be there. And hey, here's the thing: go live with what you have, and then we'll add to it. I don't think anybody's going to go like, the secondary bedroom upstairs didn't have a photo. I'm not buying this house. You know what I mean? But like,
You'd be surprised.
oh no. Yeah. So maybe that is true from like somewhere on the other side of the transaction. But I'm like, dude, if you're trying to make them, you're on fire to make the seller happy, which clearly you're being led by the nose because the house wasn't ready. They weren't ready, which in turn means you weren't ready. But now we got to do this because that's what they said because of whatever ding dong thing in their mind.
You didn't set the right expectations.
Yes.
Yes.
And so
which
now,
means that you let the client lead, not you.
which happens
So much.
most of the time. Not, or let's, 51%. I'll give it that.
Well, frequently because Ashley,
Yes, ma'am.
what is the percentage of realtors that have only had their license in Texas since what, 2020, 2021?
Since COVID. Yeah.
It's like 50%.
Half.
Yeah. And then there's another stat I was watching the other day, and it was 49% of realtors in the U.S. last year sold 1 or 0 houses.
I saw that one too.
Wow.
So you're like, cool. And then it's only like 190,000 have done 5 to like 44 transactions, which if
Lifetime. Not annually.
no, just annually.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Okay.
annually. So when you actually think, because we got 1.5 million realtors in the U.S., and we always talk about, gosh, everybody knows a realtor. But, there's only 10% of that number is actually in the business. But then you have the one-offs, and especially with what you do, Taylor, right now, you really are looking to us to set realistic expectations with the buyer. The lender needs to
Yes.
set realistic expectations. I mean,
Yes.
Preach.
how many estimates are lenders just screwing up because they still think you can get insurance for $1,800?
Well, they think
Right.
we can save the day, right? Like they
Hey,
think
just
we
do
can
what you
come
need
in
to do
and
and you
fix
can
the debt
change
to
it.
income ratio
And,
like
and we need to close tomorrow. I need to get these docs out right now.
yeah. But it's not in the best interest of the client, right? Like
Yeah.
I've noticed that, and I've stopped working with lenders that do
Yeah.
that for that very reason.
Good for you.
Because and that's a power of saying no,
Yes,
right?
and it's
Not
hard.
taking all the business. Not all business is great business. And so simply telling them like, hey, if you're not estimating this correctly, ultimately that comes back to you. It doesn't come back to me at the end of
Yeah.
the day when I have the wrong type of number. It comes back to you because now they can't qualify for the house because they can't find insurance that's
Yeah.
anywhere reasonable. Or we're not in the best interest of the client because they're taking a 5% deductible on this house in order to get through closing. And that to me, I don't want to write that type of business because the client's not calling the lender when something goes wrong. The client's calling me.
Look,
Right.
if
Right.
only in a space where somebody is just cash flush, where they go,
Yeah.
I'm going to cash pay for that
Yeah.
anyways. So make
Self-insure.
self-insure essentially, so make my deductible really high so my premium's low, and I'm probably just going to pay for it out of pocket. But you see it. I mean, we've got a situation right now where it's actually my grandmother, her chimney flew off her house during the storm.
Wow.
And
Scary.
her husband passed away, like 15 years ago, set her up very well, but on a fixed income. Sure. Right?
Yeah.
So she has a beautiful home, she has a nice car, but it's a very tight monthly situation. And calls crying my mom last night and just says, I don't know what to do. I have a 2% deductible, and I was never told I have a 2% deductible.
Yeah.
And just sobbing because she's like, I don't have $10,000. And so you turn around and you sit there, and it's like, and it's not saying that the insurance agent did anything. And she said, well, what do you mean? Well, the person you referred didn't call me back. So I just called the company. Well, that wasn't even the company, So and she's older,
Dang
and
it.
and I'm sure they didn't lie to her.
No.
And 2% is very normal at this point, but
It is the new normal.
yeah,
It is-
it's the new normal. But for her, it was something she didn't digest, and that person didn't walk through it with her. So this was the takeaway. This was that takeaway effect where she's sick to her stomach,
realizing,
and she's
yeah.
older, and
And
all
it's
of these.
detrimental.
Yeah.
It is detrimental, and so it really is important to make sure that you're aligning yourselves with good realtors, with good lenders. But gosh, insurance people right now, you
Huge.
guys you really are. You're the biggest tool in the toolbox. You
are.
Now, sometimes you feel like
Finally
a tool.
get to step in and be a big part of the process.
Yeah, I
We're
mean,
not just the insurance agent anymore.
no, you're really not, and you're honestly the first person that I'm calling. Not even maybe the lender or
Right.
anybody else or the agent to write an offer. I'm saying, hey, what do you think? Because this home's 1962.
Is it insurable?
Yeah, is
What's
it
the price
insurable?
on it?
Yeah, what are we going to be looking at?
For sure. Should I even take my client here?
Yeah.
Those types of situations.
Huge.
And if insurance isn't shopped in the option period, like even prior to the option period, we're running clue reports and we're doing all kinds of different things before they're even going to see the house because, that 1900 year built Charmer looks beautiful. And
So
man,
charming.
they've renovated it. They have renovated it.
It has hidden charm.
When it comes back at $500 a month because nobody wants to insure it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now there's state policies now, so you can still buy those houses, but like there's a different type of risk.
Buyer
And,
beware.
Yeah, you would not catch me dead in a house like that. I love them. I think they're really pretty, but there's just so much risk that goes into it, and not every insurance agent will talk about deductibles in those senses.
No,
you know,
absolutely not.
and yeah, it's sad. I hate that. I get clients every single month that come over simply because they had no idea they had a $50,000 deductible until they tried to file a claim, and now they're having to pay for it out of pocket. Yep.
And they're like, when it came out to $50,001.
Yeah. You ever seen that? Yeah, deductibles on a policy, it's like 501. You're like, what are you doing with that extra dollar?
Yeah.
Like, what's the purpose of that? We're at a threshold, like you got that 51% instead of the 40. Yeah. It's funny.
So guys, it's summer. Are you a summer guy? Do you
Yes.
love summer? Okay,
Yes.
same. I'm summer girl.
Winter
Love it.
sucks. Rain sucks.
Yeah.
Overcast skies suck.
Yeah.
Cloudy sucks.
Seriously.
Bring on the sun.
Bring on the sun, bring on the heat. How about you, Ashley?
You already know this now. I hate sweating.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I'm like,
Do you like your pool?
I do like my pool. That's fantastic. My daughter loves summer. She starts getting, seasonal depression is real, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
for
know?
sure.
And so, as you get older, you realize that there is a cyclical thing going on. So from that, I am very appreciative. It's more of the
Love
fact
the
that
summer.
we have to go show and we have to be in the elements. So certain times you need to look semi-professional.
God bless the tank top. Tank top
Listen.
and skirt. Tank top and skirt is very professional. That is my
Here's-
uniform.
Here's the deal. You have lovely arms.
Yeah.
Mine, bye-bye.
Me,
Okay.
yeah. I'm
So
not an arm
I'm not.
girly.
I
I
am
don't
not
like
wearing
it.
that.
We
I
can
gotta
work
have
on
a
it.
sleeve.
We can work
I'm
on
working
it.
on bikini Christmas.
Meet me at the gym. I got you. I
Yeah.
got you.
Tank top Christmas or tank top New Year's.
Take time New Year's.
Yes,
That's
yes,
gonna
I
be.
love it.
That's gonna
Next
be
time I
fine.
see you, you're going to be like totally ripped and have biceps
Yes.
and like that'll be your thing.
Speak it.
There you go.
Yes, girl.
Like Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2.
Ooh, yes.
Oh, that'd
that's
be
the dream.
great.
That's the dream.
No, I remember the first time I met you in
Yeah.
person. I was looking at him like, her arms. Like I literally was coveting your arms.
Thanks.
Sitting there.
Thanks. They do require work. So
Of course they do.
They do
Protein
require
intake.
work. And so much protein. I hate protein. But are we having trouble staying focused on our work this summer? Anyone?
tough, yeah.
Anyone?
No.
No?
No.
You're such a man.
Well, the reason being
it's the
is
magic mushroom.
it is in the gummies. Oh, dude. Like I'm over here doing quadratic equations in my.
Oh, like the Queen's Gambit. Have you seen the Queen's Gambit?
have not.
Oh my gosh, you need to watch that. That's amazing.
That
But
and Steel Magnolias, I'm
Yeah.
sure, on
Yeah.
his list this weekend.
Oh, I'll be having all sorts of.
Saturday
no,
fun
it's a
morning.
chess, she was a child prodigy chess master.
That's right, that's
yes. And so she would take a pill and she would do chess in her mind on the
my gosh.
ceiling. So when you said that, that's where
Okay,
that's where
all
you'd
right.
actually really like it. Yeah.
So you really don't have trouble staying focused in the summer?
It's one of those things where I'm never not at work as far as
Right.
just in my mind goes.
Okay, okay.
And now I could say back in the
Because I'm about to kick you off the show.
well, whenever I was in whenever
You're
I
not
was
relatable.
whenever I was in like the Ivory Tower at City or
Yeah.
whatever, and I went to a place and I did a thing, and it was like I was accountable and everything was recorded, and
Yeah.
it's like there I hated everything. So I was accountable because I had to be.
Okay.
And so there's this, I don't know, for me at least, there's, and I don't know if this is a dude thing or not, but there is, whenever I'm doing it for myself, the accountability
Sure.
becomes not because I have to be, but it's like all of a sudden I want to be.
Okay, that's
because
good.
there's like
fair.
some sort of payoff internally,
Okay.
you know? And so the other thing is I'm now, because of, being sober for 19 and a half years or whatever, I'm fully aware of the fact that I lucked out in like the way all the cards fell. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because like she's talking about like she's at 27 or whatever. I'm like, oh, I met the love of my life at 27. Unfortunately, it was opiates.
Yeah. Those are fun.
Show, right?
Oh my God, they are. They are. And 1990s
Yeah.
workers' comp
Yeah.
and doctors and stuff. The doc in the box here
yeah.
in,
The
in North
best, yeah.
Texas.
Yeah. But not good for you.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
No focus there.
As far
No
as a
focus.
business model and a long term.
Yeah, that was not sustainable.
Nah.
Yeah. No, I feel you. But no, it's the same thing. I mean, and I think it's very different. My daughter's homeschooled, and so there's a routine aspect that I think changes a lot for a lot of people during the summer.
For sure.
And so I'm kind of like with you, Rick. I mean, it's 7 days a week, and it's not, but have healthy boundaries, you know? I mean, so I too am okay with working, when I work and setting those stipulations and doing those type of things. But I couldn't imagine how old you've got kids.
I have a 2-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Holy
it's
moly.
tough.
That's just hard to focus, period.
No, yeah. Oh my gosh, he's the funniest little human being I've ever met in my life. But yeah, there's a lot of like mom guilt that sets in, right? Like I think people talk about it, but like not everybody talks about it. And to be honest, I don't talk about it out loud a whole lot. But like there are many days where I wake up earlier than he gets up. I get that time with him. He does go to school full time, or he goes to a daycare during the week, just because that's consistency, and he needs consistency, and I need consistency. But there's only a couple hours a day that I get to spend with him. Yeah. And so the days where I might have less calls or not have something to do, like I take advantage of that. Yeah. And then at the end of it, I still feel guilty because I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't get everything done that I needed to get done for my business side of things. And so I'm going to work on Saturday morning.
So I'm gonna clue you into something. It never goes away.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, yeah, not expecting it. Yeah.
And so I have a 17-year-old, and she's like a little, I mean, you hear about the teenage years. My kids were great. They were great teenagers. We had so much fun. So now I have my little 17-year-old mini me, and she rolls out of bed at like noon because she doesn't have school right now. And it's like, Mom, what are we going to do today? Oh, I want to go do something. What can we do?
Oh, the worst.
I'm going to work. And it's hard. It's hard. So I find myself getting up earlier, getting my list in order, making sure so that I can have a little bit of that free time. I was telling Taylor earlier, so Monday, my mom needed to go to Georgetown to visit with her brother, so we took her. I worked in the car. I did all the things. I spent the afternoon hiking with Gracie at Lake Georgetown. I still don't feel like I've gotten caught up.
No.
Like I have spent this whole week just running around on fire. And
It's because you're on fire.
it's because I'm on fire. Still from
Physically,
how hot
no,
it was
mentally,
at the lake.
Yes.
Because it was 100 degrees when we were hiking. But yeah, so there's the guilt of that because now I'm going to get home later this afternoon and she's already talking about what she wants to do. And I'm like, oh, I got a list. I got things I got to get done. So no, it's hard. And you think it's going to go away at some point and it just doesn't.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm okay with that. Like I committed
means
to
we're good
having
parents.
a mom
It
or
makes-
being a mom.
Yeah.
And having a successful business. Like that's what I want. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Same,
for sure.
But it doesn't mean that there are some days I'm like, dang, should I have taken that opportunity to stay home with him? I'm like, oh wait, hell no. Absolutely not.
Well, and again, as previously having been a child,
That's valid. Okay. We'll give you that.
Previously? Okay.
You make that sound like a different
touche.
life.
So I can say, looking back, I have like 2 or 3 memories from single digits in age, and they usually deal with like some sort of external act of God trauma.
Yeah,
that
trauma.
Like if you put a gun to my head, I couldn't tell you shit about like what my mom did or didn't do or any of that stuff. So I think, or I would sort of like propose or ask the question, how much of that do you think is externally, like where you feel like you should feel guilty?
Absolutely.
1000%.
How much of that comes from social media and the moms that are out painting rocks at the park with their children?
Hold on.
Whatever.
I don't want to be
doing.
that mom. I don't want to
No,
That
here's
would-
the problem.
That would have gone in the trauma column, by the way.
No, well, maybe you can, feel the same. I look at those women, I don't covet that. I don't
No,
want
I
that.
don't.
And so for me, it was like, everybody was always like, well, do you want to do a play date? Ew.
No.
Like, that sounds awful. Because
Unless
your
it's
idea,
my friends' kids, no. I don't
yeah,
want to do it.
and even then, it's like, that's the hard part because I might love somebody, but then I realize, oh, you're not an intentional parent and you're really crappy at this.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
now
yeah,
we can't
the
be friends
worst.
anymore.
Or your kids are really bad.
Kids are really
and
bad, yeah.
I
And
can't
then-
have that.
And then you find the good kids and you realize your parent's squirrely as hell.
Yeah.
I don't like your parent.
Yeah,
you
your
know?
kid
You're
loves
great,
the
kid,
kids.
but
you
your
hate the
mom
parent.
sucked.
Yeah. so for me, it's like, what's your idea of a play date? I don't know. Going and having a drink and playing pickleball for a few minutes, and then I'll go play with my kid. Like,
Yeah.
it's not the same. And I think, again, normalizing that what you want and what I want and what you guys want is very different sometimes.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
normalizing the idea of there is no one-size-fits-all balance.
exactly.
Like a lot of times I hear the work-life balance, and it's like, well, dude, shit's going to be unbalanced. I mean, that's
Yes.
just the nature of
24/7.
it.
And
you
that's
know?
what I focus on in my coaching is that work-life balance is not that. It's work-life harmony, and it looks different
Ooh, I
for
like
every person.
Yep.
And it may look different for that same person in 4 different seasons.
Yep.
It changes. So
Yeah.
let's recognize that and adjust it, and then everyone's happy.
Well, and it's like right now, my daughter's 10. She's amazing, but she is. I mean, and she's homeschooled, but that journey looked different. Everybody looks at it now and it's like, ooh, you've got it so easy, you know, in certain capacities. And no, we had made that decision when she was 3, and I stayed at home and did both. And I'm not cut to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm a very intentional, loving,
Yeah,
affectionate
same.
parent. But that was not like, it killed me on the inside, you know, to do it because I get stimulation differently, you know, and it's not that I can be with my kid all day long, but if you're going to make me fit this little box, that was really hard. And my husband just came to me and he said, I need to stay home full time because you need to go out there. And if I don't do this, and it was a struggle because he had the benefits, it was the steady paycheck, and he stayed home, and you know, we struggled financially for a while.
Yeah.
But then you turn around, and that's when, you know, COVID hit a few years later, and they're like, well, how do you do it? It's so easy for you. I'm like, easy for me? You know, no, we took the sacrifice up front because
Yes.
it's what we wanted to
Yeah.
do, and now we're reaping the benefits of her not being jacked around because of school. And so that looks different. But even today, Reese is at Metrotex, you know, doing an all-day thing. I turn around, she's 10, and I just said, hey, you can start staying at home by yourself for an hour.
Yeah.
You know, and that's going to create different harmony in our life because a lot of times
Absolutely.
it's like, man, I just need 45 minutes and we're in different directions right now. But my mom lives half a mile away. So my stepdad's there, and I called him on the way and I said, you're up. You know, she's
Yeah.
got her phone, she's got her iPad. You know, if anything happens, she's going to call you first. But that's a different sense of harmony now because she's in her
Absolutely.
element. I don't have to sit there and rush her out the door for just 45 minutes. And I'm like, cool. You know, but that's a family decision that we had to make as to what this looks like.
That word easy really, really always, frankly, pisses me off because that is social media at its finest.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
There's
they
no
only
overnight
see what
success.
we provide
Yes.
for them to see. And that is something I get daily. Your life is great. Your life is easy. You have financially stable means and it's just easy for you. And even my little brother, he's an absolute disaster. He's 24 years old. He is nothing like me. Love him to death. He's just not gonna do the same things. And even then he's like, well, you're fine. Like, it's easy, you know? But nobody really thinks about all the things that you have to do to get to the easy.
To get to be fine.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And you're supposed to feel guilty about that.
Oh, yeah.
After you did the work.
I will not feel guilty because
job.
you know what went into that easy lifestyle. And
Right.
I sit and look at my pool in my backyard every single day that I won't touch until 9 p.m. at night when my kid's already asleep. You know, it's like that to me is not easy. And what we've done to get there is never easy. So the word easy, again, pisses me off.
You know what? But and absolutely, and I'm the same way. But instead, I have it at this stage of my life when somebody says, "Oh, well, you're so successful," be like, "Do you want to talk about how I got there?" You know,
Love that.
And,
Let me
and,
help you.
and flipping it,
Yeah.
you know, but that took a lot of time and some rigidness to go away to
Little
realize
therapy.
that it's not that they look at you and they go, "Gosh, it's so easy for you." It's there's something internally broken, or maybe there's an audio loop that they need to break, or something else for them to be able to snap that habit, you know, because it's instead of saying I haven't done what I need to do to be successful,
Never.
it's
I'll never say that.
no, they're going to look at you and go, well, it was just easier for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you were
they-
given
Yeah.
that.
It's self-deprecation at its
Yeah.
finest.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will have this sort of uninformed idea that you have something inherently that they don't.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's why it's like, oh, I can't name the thing that you have that got
Yeah.
you to the place. I just know that I don't have it.
You were born differently,
Yeah.
or
And now
like,
you're
blessed
successful.
in a different way.
Yeah, you're
or,
successful and I'm not.
Yeah.
Because you've got X and I couldn't name it for you, but you have it and I don't.
Yeah.
And it's that weird inner monologue or whatever that keeps
Yeah.
people from doing shit. And like Wayne and I were talking the last show where it was a lot of the folks that I encounter, they need permission to be the next version of whatever it is that they are. And that's where the coaching thing comes in.
Absolutely.
You know?
So important.
Well, how many people do you know? And this goes back to, you know, I was thinking about it today. It's, you know, people you went to school with and then fast forward and you're like, we're not in the same place in life, right? And
Yeah.
and that's not
Which is a
like
hard pill to swallow,
It is
too.
a hard pill to swallow. I didn't like people I went to school with anyway, so that was just,
Yeah,
so maybe
school
not as
sucked.
hard. School sucked, man.
Yeah.
But from that standpoint, and you go, well, what was the difference though that our lives took so different paths? They are living the same year over and over
Yes.
again. It's Groundhog's
Making no
Day.
changes.
Still
Making no-
talking about the same memories.
yeah,
Yes.
and that's the hard part. That's the hard part in families because you start going in a different direction and
Yep.
it's building blocks, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you sat there and built the Taj Mahal for yourself overnight.
No.
You had to lay those bricks of foundation day after day. And so you go this way, you go that way, and strains in family. And then you just go, oh, it's family. That's supposed to be that way. No, you really need to surround yourself because you are the exact replication of the 5 people that you most closely
100%.
associate yourself with.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if those 5 people are bringing you down, then guess what? Your progress is going to look very, very different. That also doesn't mean that you have to be a lit stick of dynamite all the time. It just means, can we rub off on each other a
Yeah.
little bit? Like Michelle was just thinking this morning, like, I need to tell her that I want to be a little bit more accountable in certain things. And I think she'd be great for somebody to check in on me and say, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Because I respect her opinion and I respect how she handles things. And sometimes you just need to associate with people that are going to hold you accountable in a different way.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all need that for sure.
And
we
it's
need that inspiration and fire in our lives.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
like as far as the easy goes, I think one of my favorite questions that I always get is, did you expect to be here? Like, did you expect to be here in your life at this time or on this trajectory for this success? And I think they're surprised when I say yes, because
It's a great question.
yeah, I love that question. And I love the response I get whenever I say yes, because they're like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like,
Kind of arrogant for a lady to say that.
yeah, it sounds arrogant, right? But
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's an
but I get
honest
it.
response. Like, I've worked so hard to get here. Okay. I knew all my life I wanted to be here. Did I know I wanted to be in insurance? Probably not. I, again, didn't even know I was selling insurance when I committed to the job. But I knew that I wanted to lead a successfully financially successful life in order to help my children prosper, teach them to be, successful in their own ways. And it doesn't have to necessarily be financially, but also just show them what a strong presence is like and how to
good.
be, how to be somebody that people look up to or how to be somebody that they can always count on for accountability.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And as far as that question goes, like, yes, I did know I wanted to be here, but you can also be there. And I think a lot of people get that
I love
misconception
that.
that they can't be where you are.
And you can.
They have to
I love
change,
it.
like you said.
Yeah.
Love it.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. You've been
think about.
great. You have been so great. Thanks
awesome.
for joining us today.
Isn't it cool that we land that plane in the accountability
Yeah.
space like we planned it or something,
That is
even though we
beautiful.
didn't? Yes.
Okay,
Dovetails.
so Rick, what do you have coming up?
More of same, as always. And now Wayne and I are going to launch Leadership Laboratory.
Love it.
Which is going to be, speaking of the intentionality and the things of that nature, which to me, this all equates to like, I get to ride shotgun and get more insights and free coaching on things that, I told Wayne, I was like, dude, I could take an ass whooping, man. So it's like, I have,
Let's do it. Yeah.
I have done a lot of things the hard way unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And every once in a while I would accidentally do the right thing for the wrong reasons and be like, oh, hey,
It
look
worked
at that.
out.
Yeah.
Happy accident.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just looking forward to like cranking out more content and
Awesome.
selling you some houses down there in
Yep. I think
Midlothian.
next week I've got some awesome shots coming. I'm excited. Finally got those
Right
houses
on.
finished. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. They are beautiful, though. They are really cool.
Thank you. 3.99% interest rate. Anyone?
Saw that.
Shameless plug.
Yes.
Yeah, shameless plug. Shameless plug. But if you need some accountability and you need a 10-day action plan, give me a call. I've still got my strategy sessions going for $39.99, and they are fantastic. So that's what I've got going. Ashley, how about you?
I don't know what's going on this next week.
Okay. I'm gonna plan some things for you.
Are
though.
you?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
need to be a little bit more intentional. I think I'm a little off my own internal game.
Well,
just
and
a
we
little
are
bit.
we are going to have the new regional VP for Coldwell Banker just to keep it in the real estate world.
Yeah,
we're gonna do a little. I
love it.
I'll just be sort of like the spare.
Here's my deal. You know what? You know what I'm great at is just tell me where to be. Like that's where I know.
Yes.
Because I'm the driver in everybody else's life, and
Yeah.
sometimes I'm just like, just put it on my calendar. Tell me where to be. So I'll be
Sometimes
there.
that's nice.
That's a
Yeah, I
break
like it.
for you.
I like it.
Actually,
be
you'll
able to
say
have you
you
that
can say
person.
I'll be here because it'll be like right there.
Yeah, be right here. I'll be here. Yeah, it's great.
So Taylor, for all of our real estate clients that need insurance, where can we find you?
Yeah. I am very personal and super intentional, so I actually just would love for you guys to pick up the phone and call or send
What's
a
your phone
text.
number?
Old fashioned.
Ooh, my phone number. It's been the same one forever. It's 817-372-8800.
Awesome.
The easiest number.
Awesome. Guys, check her out. Taylor
Yeah.
with Goosehead Insurance.
Thank you for having me, guys.
You're awesome.
Thanks
Thanks,
for being
y'all.
here.
Enjoy
It's
it.
awesome.
Yes. Oh my goodness.